Our stories start with the neighbor in apartment 3B. I had just moved into a small apartment building in a quiet American town called Maple Ridge. It wasn't fancy, but it was affordable and close to my new job. My unit was 3A, and across the hall was 3B, supposedly occupied by an older woman named Mrs. Granger. I didn't see her during move-in day, but her door was covered in strange locks, 4 of them, and a small note that read, "Do not knock after 9 p.m. That night, as I was unpacking boxes, I heard slow footsteps pacing across the hall. They stopped in front of my door, paused for about 10 seconds, then continued. When I checked through the peephole, there was no one. The next morning, I met the building's janitor, Tom, an older man with a limp. When I mentioned 3B, his expression changed. "Don't bother her," he said quietly. "She doesn't like visitors. Just stay in your place after dark." He quickly walked away before I could ask more. A week later, I stayed up late working on my laptop. Around 2 a.m., someone knocked gently on my door 3 times. I froze. The rule on Mrs. Granger's door flashed in my mind. When I looked through the peephole, the hallway was empty, but I could hear breathing right on the other side. The next day, I asked another neighbor, Lisa from 3C, about the old woman. Lisa said she hadn't seen her in months, but sometimes, Lisa whispered, the light under her door flickers all night, like someone's pacing inside. A few days later, a delivery man handed me a package addressed to Mrs. Granger. When I knocked on her door to return it, I noticed the locks were hanging open. The door creaked slightly. It was pitch darkness and a faint smell of old flowers and decay. I set the box inside and closed the door quickly. Curiosity got the better of me. That night, I looked up the sender's name on the package. Maple County Morgue. Around midnight, I woke to a muffled crying sound. It was coming from 3B. A woman's voice kept repeating softly, "It wasn't supposed to be me." I stood frozen, my hand on the doorknob, until the crying turned into quiet humming. The next morning, I found a folded letter slid under my door. It read, "If you hear me tonight, do not open the door. She looks like me, but she is not." It was signed, M. Granger. That night, I couldn't sleep. At 1:30 a.m., I saw a shadow move under my door. Then a soft voice whispered, "Please, I need help. It's Mrs. Granger." The voice sounded old, weak, desperate, but then it repeated the same sentence, word for word, with the exact same tone. The next day, 3B's door was wide open. All the locks were gone. I peered inside, and the apartment was completely empty. Not a single piece of furniture. Not even dust. Just an old photo lying on the floor of a smiling woman and her daughter. I went down to the office to ask the manager about 3B. She frowned at me. 3B? That apartment's been vacant since 2018. The tenant Mrs. Granger passed away years ago, gas leak accident. I told her I'd heard someone there, and she gave me a long, worried look. You shouldn't stay here alone. That night, when I returned to my apartment, I found the same photo from 3B sitting on my kitchen counter. I hadn't brought it with me, and on the back, written in shaky handwriting, "She's in the walls now." At 3 a.m., I woke to faint scratching sounds inside the walls behind my bed. It wasn't rats. It was rhythmic, like fingernails tracing words. I pressed my ear close and heard whispering, "Apartment 3A, next." Panicking, I called Tom, the janitor. He came up immediately, flashlight in hand. He checked 3B and said quietly, "You need to move out." When I asked why, he sighed. "That apartment isn't empty. It's feeding off the ones nearby." Tom showed me an old newspaper clipping. Elderly woman found dead in apartment fire. Daughter missing. Apparently, Mrs. Granger's daughter had disappeared the same night her mother died. Some said she'd been living secretly in the building ever since. At 2:17 a.m., my door handle turned slowly. I stared as it moved back and forth. Then a soft knock. A voice whispered, "It's me, from 3B. You have my picture." I peered through the peephole. A woman stood there, gray hair, nightgown, sunken eyes. Her smile didn't move when she spoke. I wanted back. I backed away and grabbed my phone. When I looked again, she was gone, but the photo had disappeared from my counter. Only a smear of ash remained where it had been. A month later, I moved out. Before leaving, I saw a new couple moving into 3A, my old apartment. As I left, the woman from the couple pointed to the door across the hall. "Do you know why that one has so many locks?" she asked. I just said, "Don't knock after 9, then walked away.